1926 in the Lithuanian town of Rasinai. At the age of 15, the Soviets deported him and his family to a gulag in northern Russia, where he spent many years doing hard labor and was miraculously able to escape and make his way finally to Israel, where he served in the War of Independence as an officer in the Haganah. And following that, his uncle in South Africa brought him to South Africa to be with his family, where he became a very successful businessman. Maud, as he's got into retirement, has decided to, in the last few years, speak out about his experience. And we're very honored to be the first public forum that's going to hear him tell his story. Now at age 90, he celebrated his birthday on 3 continents in the last few months. Maud is going to tell us about his story. So, Maud, over to you.
Before I commence my story, I want to tell you, last night my good friend Maya took me to a lecture about the orphans, and there was a lot of trouble with the mic, the computer, and other equipment. In this case, you're getting it from the horse's mouth. I also want to take the opportunity to thank Michelle and Michael for helping me to get the recipe today.
Maybe we can start off about your childhood in Lithuania. You can tell us what it was like to grow up in Rasinai, which is a small town in central Lithuania, as you can see on the map. When Maud was born, Jews have lived in Rasinai for many hundreds of years. When Maud was born, there were about 5,000 people in the town. 40% of the people were Jewish, but Jews dominated commerce and industry, which is an important part of Maud's story. So Maud, do you want to tell us about your childhood in Lithuania?
My father labored, and his brother later inherited a flour mill and a timber mill from their father. Later had 3 children, a son Luther, and 2 daughters, one is Martha and one is Bertha. Later was a 42-year-old bachelor when he proposed to marry Malka, my future mother. Malka was 18 years younger than Later, and was the bookkeeper of the business. Later's family were against the marriage. They preferred to have a bachelor as a father instead of a married man.
With children.
My uncle Morris III, who later on was the managing director of the Crystal Confectionery in Dornford, was at the time studying at the Tel Yeshiva. He obtained a gun and he went to my uncle later and he said, if you oppose this marriage, this is where you end up. So I was born in Versailles with a silver spoon in my mouth. Versailles is also described in a book by Stanley Schaubert, which I have a copy of the cover, and they confirmed about my parents' existence and so on. I was sent to a Hebrew school and forced to have piano lessons, despite my hatred for classical music. Because my mother wanted to support the piano teacher. But I enjoyed my education at the Hebrew school, and my my Zionist upbringing.
Well, maybe you can tell them you, as a young child, that you got what happened from your Zionist education.
At the age of 8, I was allowed to travel to Kopter to listen to Zahir Jabotinsky. I became a staunch Betar member. I still remember every detail what Jabotinsky was talking about. And just to refresh your memory, he was a very popular and good orator, followed by Menachem Begin.
It was a very famous speech in which Jabotinsky warned the Jews of Eastern Europe, close to the beginning of the war, that if they didn't liquidate the diaspora would liquidate them. That was the famous line that came out of Jabotinsky's speech.
In summer, I used to join my father on a horse and cart to inspect the crop, the wheat and the corn in the large fields which my family owned. Friday night and Saturday morning, my father later walked to shul, me and my brother Jacob walking behind me. At this part of my life, I didn't experience any anti-Semitism in Lithuania.
Well, so during you had a relatively prosperous and happy childhood in Lithuania, but in 1939 the political situation in Europe changed. The Nazis and the Soviets signed a pact to divide Eastern Europe. Lithuania went to the Soviets, and the Red Army marched into Lithuania. How did that change your family's life?
For 1939, the Red Army arrived in Lithuania. With the help of the Lithuanian small communist parties, they nationalized whatever we had. They told us to leave our 6-room house, and we had to move to my grandmother, who had a small bakery shop, and our chief accountant, a Jewish man by the name of Shekinsky, was appointed the managing director of our business. By the way, I heard that his son still lives in a town called Kelly, which is about 20 kilometers north of Rosalie.
Sure.
It was a complete turnaround of my standard of living. From 6 rooms, I had to share a bedroom with my cousins, and there was no space for me to sleep with my grandmother, so I went to stay with my uncle. The Hebrew gymnasium was closed, and we had to join the Lithuanian gymnasium, and this is when I started to experience some sort of antisemitism.
As 1941 dragged on more, the Soviets realized that the Germans were about to invade, and so they decided to deport people that they considered to be political prisoners and threats to the security of the state deep into Russia. Can you tell us what happened to your family?
As you are saying, the secret Russian police, which at the time was called KGB, created a list of people whom they considered to be enemies of the state. My family appeared on this list. And on the 14th of June, 1941, there was a knock on the door. There were 2 Russian Red Army soldiers and 1 Jewish communist advisor. found me and they told me and my uncle the same. We had to board a truck and we were taken to the nearest railway station, which was called Limmud, and loaded into cattle tracks. Each truck contained 40 people. There was a hole in the ground by the door, and that was used as a toilet. There was not enough place for sitting down. The premier place for everybody was next to the door in order to be able to breathe a bit of fresh air. Unfortunately, the hole which served as a toilet was also near the door. So there was nobody.
How long were you on the train for?
The train was traveling in the northerly direction from Lithuania towards Leningrad or Petersburg. I lost count how many days we were on the train. I can't remember anymore. But during this period, the main war started on the 21st of June, which was a week later after we were evacuated. And eventually, by the time the war was in full progress, we arrived at a place called Kotlas. Can you show it on the map?
So here we have a map of the Soviet Union, and that's where Maud landed up, right in the north where the arrow goes.
In Kotlas, we were transformed from the railway tracks to a barge floating on the river Michigan. And we started sailing to an easterly direction on the barge on the river Michigan. And we arrived at the main town of the Communist Republic. Now the town was Syktyvkar. There was a number of 3 or 4 Jewish families who managed to bribe the guards, and they were allowed to debark in Syktyvkar. Me and my whole family continued along the river for another number of days until we arrived at a place called Ust-Lokshim.
So Ust-Lokshim was a gulag, or as the English translation is, a corrective labor camp in the very north of the Soviet Union. Maud and his family were one of 14 million people that were imprisoned in the gulag camps between 1929 and 1953. And the gulag was the key sort of Soviet tool of political repression. Maud will tell you about the conditions, but to give you an idea of the statistics during the war years when Maud was in the gulag, one in every fourth person died in the gulag of hunger, starvation, disease. Maud, what can you tell us about your life in the gulag in Ust-Lokshim?
In Ust-Lokshim, there were a couple of wooden built barracks. We got a small room with the 5 of us, myself and my 2 siblings, and my parents, and also my father's brother and his 2 daughters. And a total of 9 people in a small room, which served as a kitchen, dining room, and bedroom. The line along each other when they had to go to sleep. Every morning one of the family had to go to the communal kitchen and receive a bucket of soup, which was divided amongst the 5 of us. In the evening, when we came back from work, we were given the bread ration. And this, every time we had to stand for hours into the queue. My mother used to go to the nearest village, and the little clothing we had, she had to exchange this compliment our diet for a bucket of potatoes. As we were working in Slopshire, by the way, I just want to tell you, my brother was underage, but in order to get a bigger portion of bread, he declared himself 2 years older than what he was. So instead of getting 400 grams of bread, he got 600.
He had to work as a result.
Yeah. Eventually, the forest around the Slopshire diminished. There were no more work to be done. And the younger and the healthier, the physically more capable people were relocated to a new camp, which was 3 to 4 walking days from the stop.
And Maud, what was the conditions like in this work camp in the forest, isolated from your family?
In the new camp, there was only one barrack, was shared by men and women alike. We used to be awakened at 4 o'clock in the morning. We had a plate of soup and made our way to the forest to chop the trees. The snow was very deep. You couldn't walk in it, and the instruments for chopping the trees were not in good order, and there used to be lots of accidents where the tree used to fall in an unexpected direction and kill the people who were trying to bring it down.
And would also, you were in Arctic conditions. Did they give you proper clothing? Did you have...
They gave no, I've never ever received clothing from Russian people. I had to use what I bought from Rasain, and when this was finished, we used newspapers.
So Maud, there came a point where you decided that you'd had enough and you were going to take the risk and run away. Can you tell us about that?
Well, running away was all the time on my mind because it was impossible to continue living in those conditions. One night, while I was lying awake, I heard the manager leaving the barrack to go and visit his girlfriend. And I thought this would be the ideal opportunity while he's busy making love for me to run away. I woke up my brother, and the discussion was very short. We decided there and then to make our way back to Slopshire.
What happened when you arrived in Slopshire? He walked.
We walked for, I can't remember it was 2 or 3 days. We arrived in Slopshire in the late afternoon. I went to the door of our room. I opened the door, and it was semi-dark, and I heard my sister crying, Dora. brought inside my okay. I'll be okay. My parents were lying dead in bed, and my sister was lying in the middle between them. She was 10 years old. I didn't cry at the time. I realized that I must cry and do something drastic. First thing to do was to bury my parents. In midwinter, the ground was frozen. It's like concrete. It took me and my brother 3-4 days to dig the grave for a double grave. Eventually, it was deep enough, and we had a funeral. The attendance was my two siblings, my aunt Rosa, and their 2 daughters, Martha and Bertha. After the funeral, I didn't have time to mourn, and I decided this isn't the place for me. Whatever happens, I must take some drastic moves to get away from this place.
So how did you go about escaping from the Shloksha?
I made contact with 3 other youngsters of my age. One was my kindergarten friend, Yitzhak Sim. The other 2 were non-Jewish friend of mine. And we all came to the agreement that we were going to make our way to the city, of Prague, but we will not go together. We'll travel individually, one by one, in order not to be caught.
What did you tell your aunts that you were going? Did you tell your family?
I told my aunt that I'm going, and she decided that I'm taking too much of a risk, and in order to protect me, she said, if you are going to go, I'll report you and I'll stop you from going. I didn't listen to her advice, and she didn't carry out a threat that she would report me. But at this stage, I would like to explain to you the relationship with the 2 non-Jewish friends. If you compare it to South Africa, going about 30, 40 years ago, the English-speaking, the business people in the country, and the Afrikaners were the laborers. In Lithuania it was similar. The Polish-speaking people, they are the big landowners, and the Lithuanians were the workers. Those 2 people whom I befriended, the one's name was Pilsudski, whose uncle was the ex-president of Poland, and the other one was Czechoslovakia, and they were both Polish-speaking. Their home language was Polish.
So you left the Gulag and you walked back to to Syktyvkar, the capital. What did you do there? How did you manage to survive?
We walked one by one, not together, and we arranged to meet the Jewish family in Syktyvkar, who were friends of ours in Rasain, and we met up there, and we were 15, 16 years old, but our appearance was like 10-year-old. So we could manage to merge into the town without having to show any identity. However, they said that this is not enough. You've got to, in order to get bread, you've got to have a bread card or some sort of identity. And they advised us there was an opportunity, there was a school teaching young boys how to become locomotive stokers. And in order to get the bread card, we joined the school, and we started to be trained as stokers on railway locomotives.
And then your fortunes changed. The political winds changed, and you benefited. Towards the end of the war, the Soviets were doing really badly. The German army was surrounding Stalingrad, and the German army was surrounding Stalingrad. And the Polish general approached, through with the help of Winston Churchill, approached Stalin and offered an exchange. He said the Polish army will fight with the Soviets against the Germans if the Russians release all the Polish prisoners of war. And Stalin reluctantly agreed. He had no choice because he thought he was going to lose. And your friend was Polish, and you were able to take advantage of that opportunity. Can you tell us the story?
When we heard about this agreement, Pilsudski went to town and he reported himself to the Polish consulate. When he mentioned his name, he was the officer from Bosana and Nevada.
A hero.
He became a hero. And he was appointed one of the organizers of finding and locating all the Polish citizens in the Gulag in order to transport them back to Poland. Me and his folk, the other guy was also Polish speaking, so he was okay. And we said to Pilsudski, what's going to happen to us? So he said, don't worry, we will teach you a few words of Polish and you will be identified as Polish. It took a couple of days and we could converse a little bit in Polish. Then the next problem we had is to declare where we were born in Poland. Now, this also played up some luck to us. The border land between Lithuania and Poland for many years was in dispute. And some territories belonged a number of years to Lithuania, like Limmud, and eventually it went back to Poland. So it was a mixture. It wasn't defined who the territory belonged. So Pilsudski advised us said, you declare yourself that you are born in the town called Grodno. Grodno was one of the disputed areas. The reason why we chose Grodno is that Yiddish in Lithuania and Yiddish in Poland is spoken differently.
So what you say Azay and they say Azoy, how does it go?
Some other examples. So my Yiddish was a Litvak Yiddish, but the Jewish people in Grodno spoke Litvak Yiddish. So that again passed us the next hurdle. And we became the main organizers of the Polish embassy in Syktyvkar. There was a lot of money coming in from Britain, and they tried to improve the condition of all the Polish-speaking people. And the four of us were in charge of all the funds. So what we had to do is we decided that we come first. We stole food from the embassy and we sold it on the black market. And over a short time, I became a man with a lot of money.
Well, that's where you got your business experience, eh? That's where you started your business career.
So I decided that I'll use the money to rescue my brother and sister. When I contacted my aunt and I told her that I can afford to bring them, she didn't believe me. And she never even told her that I wanted to rescue them. The next step, what I did, is I hired the motorized boat and I sent the man to bring them. He came back and empty-handed. My brother didn't want to go, and my sister was small enough to be influenced by my aunt. I didn't let go, and I said to the man, I'm paying you again, you go and kidnap my sister. And she arrived. She came back and she joined me. But that wasn't the end. At the same time, the Polish embassy decided that they located all the Polish people. They cannot send them from Syktyvkar to Poland because it would be a disgrace of their appearance. They decided that they'll create an interim station. And they said, we'll take you to Ukraine, you all know, and to town called Kursk. And we'll have to stay there for a couple of months to improve our state of health. I couldn't refuse. I had to go with this decision. And now I was faced with a problem what to do with Togo. And after small deliberation, I put her into a Polish orphanage. And I left them, and we went, and we left Syktyvkar to Kursk.
And what happened while you were in the Ukraine?
The purpose of sending us to Ukraine was to improve our appearance. They gave us a lot of
What, while you were in the Ukraine, the war ended.
The war ended while I was in Ukraine, and I celebrated the end of the war. This was the first time in my life, but not the last. I got fun.
And then, Maud, so after the end of the war, you now were Polish and you had to be repatriated back to Poland.
That was the next step. After our feelings and weight and improved, they put us back into place, and in order to fulfill the agreement which Churchill had with Stalin, they had to hand us over to the Polish government. We arrived, the first stop in Poland we arrived was in Lodz. We were the four of us, myself, Yitzhak, Pilsudski and Spain. By this time, there were a lot of shlichim from Israel in Lodz. They created Aliyah Bet, also an organization called Bricha, Limmud. They came to the Lodz station and they met us and they said you're going to there was a bike that we had to go. So we asked them what happens to our two friends. And they were ruthless. They said, you just lose them. How do we lose them? They said, tell them that we're going into town, they must wait for you at the station. And you'll never see them again. It was very hard to do it. And I regretted until today. They saved our lives. But we had to listen, and we went to the body, and we never see Pilsudski together in my life.
And Maud, after that, you sort of prepared for your trip back to Israel to make Aliyah.
Well, that was the plan. We traveled through Germany, through Berlin. Berlin was managed by 4 different countries, the Russians, the British, the Americans, and we had to pass various borders. I was arrested by the Russians again. And I asked to go to the toilet, and there I dropped all my Lithuanian identity. And after 2 or 3 days in prison, the Bricha liberated me again, and we continued, and we went to a camp which was originally a Hitler Jugend camp called Auckland near Munich, and we awaited for our turn to make Aliyah.
And what happened with your sister?
Yeah, while we were in Lodz, I said to my friends, how am I going to find my sister? And then we got some help, and we identified that she is in Lodz as well, in a Polish orphanage. And we went to ask her to be released. They refused to do it. So myself and 3 of my friends went in the middle of the night to put up a
she was younger and she had to go went to a different group.
Yeah, because of different ways, she went with a different group and I went with another group. She came to Israel about 3 months ahead of me. No, she came to Israel, she made Aliyah 3 months ahead of me. And she landed eventually kibbutz Ashdod Yaakov on the Kinneret. She met a boyfriend there and she started normal Israeli life.
And your journey to Israel took a little bit longer.
My journey took longer. I was taken over the house by foot. And we went to Genoa. In Genoa, we boarded a ship called She'ar Yashuv. It had about 900 Cholim. Before we arrived in Israel, we were met by the British Liberal Army. They arrested us and they wouldn't allow us to go to Israel. And they redirected us and they put us in a camp in Cyprus. So I was back to be a prisoner by the liberal British people.
But in the end, your papers came through and you were allowed to go.
And in Cyprus, I was appointed to be a Hebrew teacher. When my time came to go to Israel, they needed my services for longer, so I volunteered to stay 3 months longer in Cyprus, and eventually I was transported to Israel, and I ended up in a camp near Haifa called Atlit.
And then more later you served as an officer in the Israeli army. You can see what in the picture is Maud marching on Yom Ha'atzmaut in 1940.
It's me on the right in front.
And a picture of Maud, his friend Yitzchak and Sister Tova, all of
It was
them.
the 15th of May 1948. Declaration of Israel.
Many years later, Maud was finally reunited with his brother. In Israel, there's a picture of Maud, his brother and his sister. You can see them from their childhood to when they were old age. And this year, a few months ago, Maud's just returned from a trip to Israel where he met with his friend Yitzchak and his sister. And there's the now and then photo of all three of them. And this is just a map of Maud's journey from the story of his life, I guess, in a map, from Lithuania to the Gulag in Syktyvkar, to Cyprus, then to Israel, and finally made his way to South Africa, where he built a business and became the biggest sock manufacturer in South Africa. Married a wonderful woman and had three good children.
Sock.
Sanif. Sock factory. Do you think, I think maybe now we've got a few minutes, would you like to open it open to questions? Would anyone like to ask any questions? Sure.
It's a weird thing to ask, but do you feel in some ways you're fortunate to land up in the Gulag? Because if you stay in Lithuania, you would more likely have been killed by the Nazis in the Shoah. How do you feel on that? I mean, Lithuania Lithuania was just as brutal on their own.
Well, maybe you should tell them the story. Ilan's question is very similar to Joel Marcus's father. Maybe you should tell the story of your answer.
Yeah, I was asked the same question by Michael, and I'll tell you what happened to me. I used to go to gym with Jill Marcus's father.
The governor of the Reserve Bank.
And one day, he was 90 years old, and he forgot where he put his clothes, what locker, and we became friends. So one day I said to him, you know, Nathan, I'm a victim of communism. So he got very cross with me. He wanted to hit me. He said, you little bastard. He said, it wouldn't be for Stalin, you wouldn't be here today. So the other people said, leave him alone, don't have an argument with him. 6 months later, I was invited to a birthday party, and I happened to sit with Jill Marcus at the same table. So I thought I'd make conversation. And I told her the story. She didn't defend him. She was very diplomatic, and she says, Maud, you know, old people are set in their ways, and they are not prepared to update their views. And forgive my father for what he said.
Hi, thank you. Maud, I wanted to ask, did you ever go back to Hussein where your parents were buried to give them a formal gravestone or to see where they were buried?
She wants to know if you've ever been back to Shlokshem or to Hussein.
Hussein too. And the other thing is those two colleague friends of yours that you travelled together with that you had to leave behind. Did you ever try to find them or look to see if they could be traced to make,
Well, to reply to your first question, I wanted to go and my children advised me not to go. They said, what will you get? You'll come and knock on the door of your house. A Lithuanian woman will open the door. You'll get upset. You'll hate her. And you can do nothing about it. So don't go. What was the other question?
About your Polish friends.
I regretted until today that I didn't see them
ever again.
What made you come to South Africa?
My uncle, after I finished studying in the Technion, invited me to come for my cousin's wedding. I arrived here. First time I was dressed in a suit and tie, and I was appointed a Paulhauser.
Where was that?
Where was it? Where was it? In Johannesburg.
In Johannesburg, yeah.
His uncle was the owner of Crystal's Bakery. And then he convinced Maud to stay and to get involved in the business with him and Maud's first cousins. And when his uncle died, they ran the bakery business. Does anyone have?
Yeah. Could you describe, you said that you experienced when you moved from the Hebrew gymnasium to the Lithuanian high school, you experienced anti-Semitism. I wonder if you have a story or a memory of how that was.
an important part of my life, and a very unpleasant one. And when this happens, you try to block out in your mind. So I really have no facts to talk about.
And do you have any understanding or do you ever sort of wonder why the Lithuanians were so brutal in their hatred towards the Jews during the Holocaust, or a portion of them?
What's new?
It was everyone, the politician, the president.
You're at the back.
I'm interested in if you can share some detail as to how you actually escaped from the gulags.
You want to know how you actually escaped. Maybe it's worth explaining that it was a natural fortress. You want to know how you actually escaped, how you get out.
Yeah, sure.
You want to know when you were in the bush, when you were in the gulag in Ushlokshem, how did you get to Sitkovskaya? How come there wasn't guards?
There are no guards. The Belgian police, nature is the main guard. And if you can physically survive and make way, you couldn't walk on a proper road in order to be identified. So you have to walk on side roads where the snow is 2 meters deep. It's not easy, but we made it.
Have you considered contacting the children or relatives of those 2 Poles that helped you?
I'm debating with it. I feel bad about it.
Okay, I think we've had too much time. You can come and chat to us.